got me, Joe?
Yep, got it. Coach player philosophy.
All right. I've heard some great stuff tonight. I got a notebook full of too much information already. So maybe I can add a little something. My name is Phillip Richards. I'm down at Effingham County High School in Georgia, just north of Savannah. Really appreciate Coach Salas including me tonight. He's been a great friend of mine for past 20 plus years. He's a tremendous coach, and I just appreciate the opportunity to get on here with you guys tonight. I thought I'd talk tonight about a role for each player and each coach in your program. You know, I've often, when interviewing or talking to a coach, heard a coach say, Coach, what are you looking for? Or talking to a parent or administration, they might say, Coach, what are your player expectations? So here are just a few thoughts of mine on those issues. Talking about coaches, what kind of coach do you hire? What kind of coach do you have? I think you need to have good men that love kids in place. I think character counts first. I think what kind of person they are is much more important than you see my second point there is don't get enamored. Don't get enamored by the supposed X and O knowledge, the gurus, the new shiny object, something that glitters. We can get on YouTube tonight here and find an entire offense, an entire defense. But the things that come first, I think the things that are most important, what kind of person, what kind of character that man has. And behavior before results, I think that goes right into your culture. I think Joe's talked about that. It goes back to first things first. I worked with a coach one time that we knew coming in we weren't going to win many games. We had a culture problem on the team. We had some discipline problems in the school. And he decided we were going to run Power I the whole first year now. Most of y'all know there's not too much of an offense in Power I, and we had less than offense. And he said, we're going to get tough and we're going to learn how to play football. Now, I know that's drastic, but he was establishing the culture of this is the way we're going to do things. We're going to be tough. We're going to play football the way it's supposed to be played. The last one there, and that's probably why my picture's on there, old men teaching the young men. That's kind of how it's supposed to be, isn't it? Aren't we supposed to be passing things down, in life? Aren't we supposed to be passing our knowledge on? I think we're passing those life lessons down to kids, I think Joe's talked about in some of his presentations on culture, what kind of man is that going to be on? You think about your father's nights. You think about your family nights. What are you passing down? Those are the kind of coaches. Those are the kind of men you need to have leading your young men. The next thing is coaching. How to coach. You can only coach those kids as hard as you're willing to love them back. What are you willing to pour into those kids? Life's messy for us. And when I first started teaching and coaching, that kid would bring a mom, maybe a dad or stepdad. Now it's a mom, 3 boyfriends, a cousin, a brother, uncle, a next door neighbor, and everybody else with them. What are you going to pour into that kid? Your attitude to those kids you coach have to be the same as how you would handle things with your own kids. Those kids have the same wants, same desires. They seek to belong just like every other kid, although they're misguided or no direction. But how would you got to keep in mind, how would you respond to your own kids? Point of care is earned. I think that time is the only variable. I think that football, relationships, caring, concern, love is not microwavable. I think trust takes time, is earned over time, but can be lost in a matter of seconds. And I think the key is going to be communication and consistency. Those kids, you know, most kids today know how to get crapped on. Most kids today know or have witnessed, at least the ones I coach, have witnessed an adult male crap on them. So I think consistency and communication and building that trust is huge. Relationships. You know, I go back, I think about the good men. I think about the culture. I think about something that's real, something that you can sink your teeth into. You know, how are you and that kid going to be when his football's over? I think of a good friend of mine who still has his players over to eat supper, just like they had just like they were having a game tomorrow night. How's that relationship going to be? How are they going to be a better man because of the way you coach them? Next thing is players. Who do you play for? First thing I wrote, who do you play for? And I made a note, you know, you play for the Bulldogs, you play for the Rebels, whatever your school mascot is. But that's not the brick and mortar. That's the people. That's the program. It's got to be larger than self. You know, you're in a learning laboratory in everything you do. And I think about the kids that don't participate in football, and then they're going to enter this, you know, the real world, and they hadn't had to navigate those things that we have the opportunity to navigate. Those things we have the opportunity to experience. And you know, how are they going to function in the real world? I think about that. You know, your left tackle. You know, there's not a socioeconomic color, race, size, whatever. There's no chart for that. That left tackle can be any of those things. You know, I've heard Bill Curry talk about this. The game of football is bigger than any one person because we all can participate in it. It's a training ground, and I say a training ground because I think today, and I think Coach Moore kind of touched on this a minute ago when he was asking about kids trying to train outside of what the coach has for them. Kids today, because of parents or lack of, you know, live in a mercenary culture. You know, what's next? What's on to the next thing? The next school, the next best trainer is going. My trainer told me, you know, and like Coach said a minute ago, what do we know? But we live in that society. You know, what's next? You know, and you even have some wannabe coaches that sell that kind of garbage. You know, but it's our society. And I was just looking at some stats on things, and the average attention span on any social media when they're scrolling through for any topic is 1.7 seconds, and then they're on to the next thing. Guys, it's got to be about more than that. It's got to be about way more than that, and something real, because that's not real. 1.7 seconds, that's not the world I live in. It's got to be a transformational takeaway, or why do it? Why do all the things we do? What are you taking away? What is that kid going to be able to take away from that program? I think it's just that. What do you hang your hat on? You know, I think, again, to refer back to Coach Salas, you know, your players and your coaches got to be able to tell you what that mission is. If we don't know what the mission is, what are we going to do when we go out? You know, you got to have something that you're going to all take away from that experience. Playing. How to play the game. Play the game the way it's supposed to be played, to find another game to play. I love saying that. I think that's real. That's not exclusionary. I think it's inclusionary because life has rules. Play the game the way it's supposed to be played, or find you another game to play. It's tough. It's nasty. It's challenging. You know, you can fill in the rest. It's too hot. It's too cold. Whatever. Okay. You know, it's a tough game. And I think there's a difference between being physical and being tough. And it is a physical game, but it's a tough game. And toughness is just about getting back up one more time. And I think that that's what young men are lacking. That has to be taught. It has to be taught by those old men. our best and our worst. It brings out the players' best and the players' worst, the coaches, the everybody's best and worst. So I think about that, and then I say, now what? So what? I think Coach earlier tonight started us off about how you're going to respond. Yeah, brings out your best and your worst because it taxes everything about you, mentally, emotionally, physically. Now what? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? And who are you in the good? Who are you in the bad? I think that's life. I think that's what any boss would want out of you. That same person, that person they can count on. What any coworker would want. What their future wives, their future families would want. Who are you when it gets nasty? Play the game the way it's supposed to be played. It deserves that. It deserves your full respect and attention. It's going to take. I don't know how anybody goes through this game half button it because it demands so much out of it. Lastly, I write this on every practice and game script or any workout we have. 1 Peter 5:2, and this is a paraphrase, feed the flock of God, which is among you. I'm a very imperfect Christian. I try to remind myself why I'm out there. But I think we all have roles to play. I think the kids have roles to play. I think we have roles to play. And if we don't know exactly what they are, then how are we going to fulfill those successfully? So pretty short, succinct, to the point. I think this goes right along with culture, but just a philosophy on how I view the roles of each coach and each player.
Great job, man. I knew you were going to knock it out of the park. Any go ahead and open your mics. Any questions for Phillip? That's because it was straight and to the point, brother. Great job.